Hello there, I am Dr. Bree, and today we are going to do a happy hamstrings strength and flexibility workout. So if you are someone who cannot touch your toes, let's see if you can by the end of this workout. So all you will need is ultimately a yoga mat. I'm going to be kind of sliding on my rug. So if you have a sticky mat, that is amazing. And you might also need a blanket, a folded blanket. Nothing too squishy. If you don't have one, that's okay. But let's go ahead and get started. Grab your blanket if you have one, grab your mat, and let's begin. So the first thing I want to do, actually, before we even use the blanket, is to do kind of like a little pre-test and see where you are as far as hamstring, back of your leg flexibility. So I want you to just sit and reach. So see what happens when you sit here and you try to reach your toes. Now, for a lot of people, what's gonna happen is it's gonna look kind of like this, like a C curve of their spine. The butt's a little bit tucked under, and maybe it's like, oh, I can't even get close. It doesn't feel good. If you are looking different than this, wonderful. But if you're with me and you're feeling kind of tight, then let's see how we can improve things. All right, that was our pre-test. So let's go ahead and get started with that blanket I was talking about. If you have a blanket, what this does is it just helps prop your hips up so that it's a little easier to maintain good alignment of your pelvis and your spine during these exercises. So it really helps if you're tight in the hamstrings to go ahead and sit up on a blanket. And we're gonna begin this by actually massaging out the bottom of our feet. So just get comfortable sitting on the front edge of your blanket and begin by grabbing one of your feet and just use the heel of your hand on the ball of your foot and start rubbing out that area. Now, you're like, Bree, why are you talking about feet? I'm here to work on my hamstrings. Well, what if I told you that your hamstring flexibility actually begins by working on your feet? And that's because our entire body is connected by fascia, which is a connective tissue coating that kind of covers and connects everything in our body. The fascia of our feet area blends in with our calf muscles, which blends in with our hamstring muscles. Our hamstring muscles start right under the back of the knee and hook into our sitting bone in the pelvis. So from here to here. But all this stuff is connected to all this stuff. So let's begin by bringing blood flow and warmth to the bottoms of our feet. Now, it can be really lovely to take your knuckles and massage from the ball of your foot to your heel. So just kind of find a position that's comfortable to do this in and massage it out. Breathe, don't ever hold your breath. It feels so good. Plus we're getting a little hip opening here. And if you want to, you can do this seated in a chair. You don't have to be on the ground right now. All right, let's move to the other side. So the heel of your hand to the ball of your opposite foot and just kind of massage the ball of your foot, the forefoot area. And remember, it's all connected. So stretching your hamstrings is gonna be really helped by starting at your feet. Okay, next we're gonna take our knuckles and we're going to go from ball of the foot to your heel and just really get in there into your arch and really feel how that loosens and just brings circulation to the area. Motion is lotion. Massage brings circulation, blood flow, energy, flexibility, all the good stuff. Okay, now we are going to do something that's not so fun, but it's really helpful. So if you have that blanket, you're gonna put it under your knees and you are going to sit on your toes. So take your toes and make sure that even your pinky toe is on the ground on both sides. And we're gonna be sitting on our heels. So my heels are right under my sitting bones, and I'm stretching out the undersides of my feet. So breathe deeply. Take some deep breaths. It's a lot. If you have never done this before, you might be screaming at me right now. Just keep breathing. Let's do 1 or 2 more breaths. Know that this will pass, and it's so good for you, especially if you wear shoes all day long, tight, cramped shoes. This is probably gonna feel like a lot. Okay, 1 more deep breath. Oh my gosh, right? Now, we're gonna sit now on the tops of our feet. So just let your feet rest behind you. And the blanket can stay where it is, or if you wanna follow me, I'm gonna actually put it behind my knees. So some people have a hard time sitting like this. So if it's too much for you to sit all the way down, you can put a blanket behind you. But my feet are now flat on the floor, stretching out the tops of my feet. So in this position, I want to begin with some pelvic mobility and coordinating breath with movement, because that's gonna be really important. This hip and pelvic mobility and coordinating breath with movement is gonna be really important for our hamstring stretches and our forward folds. So begin with your hand, 1 hand on your heart and 1 hand on your low belly. Now, I want you to feel like you are opening your hands apart and then bringing them together. So inhale, open your hands apart. Exhale, bring them together. Inhale, opening apart. And exhale, bringing them together. Couple more times. Getting your whole spine and your pelvis moving. Now come up to neutral and try to do a similar thing, but don't move your upper hand so much. Try to just tip your pelvis forward and back. So see how now my lower hand is going away from my top hand, and then my lower hand is going toward my top hand. Do you see that? The lower hand is going away from my top hand, and then it's going up toward my top hand. And why this is happening is because I'm rocking my pelvis forward and back. Keep going, inhale, and then exhale. Don't get too caught up in the breathing. I want you to focus more on what's happening at your pelvis, this rocking forward and back. But be sure that you're not holding your breath. So do not hold your breath. Breathe steadily and rock that pelvis forward and back, seeing how you can feel the lower hand go away from your heart and then toward your heart. If you feel like you need to adjust that blanket a little bit, you can, or you can take it away altogether, whatever you like. Couple more. Now inhale. And this time, instead of that rocking like we were doing, I want you to think of hinging from your hips and exhale, fold forward. So inhale, come up. Lift your spine tall, and then exhale, hinge at your hips. One more time. Inhale, come up nice and tall, and think of your hips right here. These joints right here. Inhale, exhale, hinge at your hips. This is what we're going to be doing during our forward folds for our hamstring stretches. So just really get that pattern. Inhale, and then exhale, hinge at your hips. Okay, keep practicing that if you want to, or you can join me for a move that's going to gather strength and blood flow to our whole lower body. So you're gonna come up onto your knees. Inhale, 1 hand on the heart, the other hand back, and exhale. Inhale, and exhale. One more time on each side, nice and slow. Inhale, squeeze your butt, and exhale. Last time, inhale, squeeze your butt, and exhale. Okay. Roll out your shoulders, and we are going to get ready for our next move. Grab your blanket, if you have it, and put it under your knees just for a little extra padding and comfort. We're gonna do some strength work on the elbows and knees. So knees are under your hips, bent elbows are under your shoulder. Strong through the core, and don't let your back round. Now, why we're doing this strength work is that we're gonna get blood flow flowing to our hamstrings, and we're really gonna strengthen before we lengthen. So I want you to do a donkey kick with me. Nice and slow, belly is strong, low abs are pulled in, whole total core is engaged. We kick up toward the ceiling. 7 more times. 6, 5, flat foot reaches for the ceiling. 3, 2, keep breathing, core is strong. And this time, hold it up, point your toe, and out and curl. Out and curl. 8 more. Out and curl. 7, keep breathing. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, oh my gosh, it's hard, isn't it? And now put the foot behind you, foot on the ground, and just rock. Stretching out the calf, stretching out the whole back of the leg. You can rock on your elbows or on your hands. Just stretch it out. Okay, so that was bringing blood flow to the muscles that we're gonna be stretching. So other side, strong through the core. Bring that other leg back, bent, flat foot up toward the ceiling, and we donkey kick. So it's like you're kicking straight up toward the ceiling. Breathe steadily. 7 more. 6, 5, core is strong. 4, 3, 2, and 1. And this time, hold it up. Try not to tip to the side, by the way. You're nice and still here. So straighten the leg and bend. Point the foot and straighten the leg, and then bend at the knee. 8 more. 7, 6, core is strong. 5, keep breathing. 4, 3, 2, 1. Whew, and foot down on the ground, and just rock forward and back, stretching out the calf, stretching out the back of the leg, rocking forward and back, strengthening your shoulders too. And now, both knees onto the blanket. Come up onto your hands and knees. And I want you to play with this rock back position. So this is more hip mobility, because we're gonna really need that hip mobility to hinge forward at the hips in our forward folds and not just like round and hunch our back, because the hamstrings hook into the sitting bones. So when you're rounding and hunching, you see your hamstrings are not stretching. You need to release the sitting bones to really stretch your hamstrings. So that's why these rock backs are so helpful for hamstring flexibility. So just rock back, think about lifting your tailbone and your sitting bones up toward the sky, and then forward. Now you don't necessarily want to be super arching your back, but it is definitely a lift of the tailbone and a lift of the sitting bones. And you can pulse it back, or you can just smoothly rock forward and back. Now, you can stay right where you are. I'm gonna turn just a little bit. You are gonna keep going with those rock backs, but stretch one leg out to the side, straight out to the side, and keep rocking back. So this one is stretching out your inner thigh muscles. You know, these muscles, they're not your hamstrings, but it's important to stretch all of the muscles all around your pelvis when you are doing these hamstring flexibility exercises. You want everything to be balanced and supple and flexible and bring blood flow to the whole area. So slow rock backs or little pulses, just be gentle and breathe. One more. And then we're gonna go to the other side. So the other leg goes straight out to the side and just little tiny rock backs. You'll feel this in your inner thigh. These inner thigh muscles tend to be pretty tight when we have pelvic floor tension. So be gentle with yourself. Breathe. Rocking straight back with your pelvis, stretching out that inner thigh. Again, it's like right here that we're feeling it. Leg goes straight out to the side and we rock back. Foot is resting on the ground. And come forward. Now, on your hands and knees, let's go into some cat and cow, still focusing on that pelvic mobility. We need it for our forward folds. So inhale into cow pose and exhale. Tuck your tailbone under, lift your belly to your spine and cat pose. Then inhale into cow pose and exhale into cat. See how I'm lifting my pelvic floor and my low belly and rounding my back. One more time, inhaling and exhaling. This time, inhale, tuck your toes under you like we did at the beginning, and exhale, keep your knees bent and press back into a downward dog. Now, this is a very, very bent knee downward dog. Do not worry about straightening out your legs. Keep your knees bent and press yourself back so your sitting bones are reaching toward the sky. Try not to be like this. You want to really press back. This is easier if you have a sticky mat and not a slippery rug. So knees are strongly bent. Lift that sitting bone toward the sky. Lift your tailbone toward the sky. And then maybe straighten one knee and bend the other. Paddling out your legs and breathing with this. Bend one knee and straighten the other. Feel that stretch in the hamstrings and the calf. And breathe. Lift the sitting bones up toward the sky. Now stay right here, and you're gonna walk your feet a little bit wider. So maybe they're shoulder width apart. Turn your toes inward and your heels outward. And your knees can still be bent. So keep everything so that your back is really flat and long and you're not hunchy or roundy like this. So long spine. Toes in, heels out. And this opens up the pelvic floor area, opens up the hips, stretches the muscles in a new way. And inhale and exhale. Now inhale, look forward, and exhale, walk your hands forward so you're in a bent kneed forward fold. Now, if you had a blanket, take it and make it so that you have a little prop to hang on to. Your knees can be bent, or maybe you can play with straightening one knee and bending the other knee. So stretching out in this forward fold position. Try to make it so that you are hinging at your hips and not like this. So try to make it so that you are hinging at your hips and lengthening your spine as much as possible, okay? Again, we don't want this. We want length through the spine and a hinging at the hips, not a tucking under of the bum. So playing with this position, maybe you're fine here, you can straighten your legs. Maybe you even want to let yourself hang. If you have any back pain though, definitely, if you have back pain, definitely keep your spine straight and hold on to something for support. Now let's play with this a little bit. Our hamstring muscles are stretched in different ways when we change our rotation of our hips and our legs. So bring your heels together and your toes apart and see what happens when you do that. Heels together, toes apart. Again, heels are together, toes are apart, and just feel that change in the stretch. You can still bend one knee and straighten the other, or If you can try to straighten your legs. If this is too low, you can have your hands up on the back of a chair or on the seat of a chair. Just have something for support and feel that stretch in the backs of your legs. Breathing. Gently feeling the lower abdominal area pull in as you exhale and maybe fold a little bit deeper. Now inhale, bend your knees a little bit, straighten your feet forward, and then go the other way with the rotation. So toes in, heels out, and then try seeing what happens in this position, in this forward fold. If you need to stand up, carefully and slowly stand up. If you're getting a head rush and too much blood to your head, go ahead and do that if you need to. But if you're okay, stay down here, maybe bending one knee and straightening the other, and then alternating sides, seeing that you're hinging forward at your hips. Try not to round and hunch your back too much. Bring in yoga blocks or extra pillows or something like that if you need more support, more height. So again, toes are in, heels are out, and just play with this. See how juicy it feels to bend one knee, straighten the other, or maybe just hold it steady. Toes in, heels out, and hinging at your hips. Let your head hang. Play with going a little bit forward onto the balls of your feet and then rocking back into the heels more. Changing where the pressure and the body weight is. Just play around with this. Oh, let out a big sigh. Every time you exhale, you lift that belly gently toward your spine. Oh, feels so good. Bend one knee, straighten the other. And then bend both knees, turn your feet forward. Take a quick little stretch in this position, and then bend them again, and carefully come up to stand. So I like to come up, and then circle out your hips a few times, nice bent knees. Go the other way. And then we're gonna sit down on the ground. So carefully come to your seated position. You can be seated on the edge of the blanket, again, if you want to, or I'm not going to, but you can if you'd like to for the next part. All right, so I wanna do our forward folds now really, really intentionally. So first, begin by moving your sitting bones, your butt bones, back behind you. Feel like you're actually tipping your body side to side and scooping your butt bones, your sitting bones, so that they're really going back behind you and they're not tucked under like this. So do that with your hands. Move the muscles of your glutes out of the way. Scoop those sitting bones back. And just like before, I want to try doing a forward fold with some rotation so you feel the different type of hamstring stretch. So take your hands and I want you to internally rotate your leg. So it's like you're taking the whole leg and turning it inward. So internally rotate one leg, internally rotate the other leg, heels are out, toes are in, and just sit up nice and tall. If you can, if you have the space in your hips, inhale, and then exhale, all your air out, and walk forward just a little bit. Again, like I said, you can be sitting up on the edge of a blanket, on the front edge of a blanket. That can make this even more comfortable. Try to keep your spine nice and long. Try not to round and hunch like this. Just notice how much more of a stretch you feel when you are sitting tall and you're hinging at the hips and you're not rounding. All right, now inhale, look forward. Exhale, walk your hands back. And let's do the same idea, but we're gonna rotate the legs outward. So take your hands and rotate your entire leg outward. And then the other side, rotate the entire leg outward. So now heels are together, toes are apart. Still sitting up nice and tall. Even just sitting like this can be a stretch in the back of your legs. But if you want more, we inhale, we exhale all the air out, and we hinge at the hips just a little bit. At the point where you feel your back starting to round, that means you've gone too far for what we're doing right now. We're really playing with all the intricacies of hamstring stretching. So don't let this happen. That's your sign that you've gone too far. So sit up nice and tall, and if you're just right here, that's great. If you can hinge forward, keeping your back pretty straight, that's good too. So feel that rotation of your legs. Feel how it stretches your hamstrings in a slightly different way. One more breath. Our toes are out, heels are in. And now, take your legs and rotate them neutral, so your toes are pointing up. So neutral legs. Make sure your sitting bones are really way back behind you. Sit up nice and tall, and let's just stay right here. So if you want to, you can go forward, but if you're like me, just stay up. Just stay really tall. If you're noticing any rounding or C curve of your low back, I want you to really try to lift your pelvis and bring everything so it's straight, like there's a rod behind you. Don't let this happen. Make it go upright. This is the work. Toes are pointing up toward the ceiling. And really feel that stretch in the back of your legs, the back of your calf muscles. And your low back might be feeling like it's had a little work, because it has. You've been using your muscles. If there's ever any pain, like back pain, then you need to stop and back off and work with a practitioner one-on-one. But if you're just feeling the muscles of your core and your back working, that's okay. That's what this is about. It's using your body in new ways. Breathing deeply. And release. Okay, let's do a quick little stretch. So cross your right leg over your left. Inhale nice and tall, and exhale and look behind you over your right shoulder. So it's just a little twist to release your low back. Maybe you can really hug that knee, or maybe you can even hook your elbow on the outside of that knee and look over your shoulder. Try to increase the length in your spine, and exhale, twist a little bit more. And then look forward. Unhook your legs. Wiggle them out. And then switch sides. So now the left foot is gonna go over the right. Inhale nice and tall. Exhale, hug the right arm around the left knee. Looking over my left shoulder. Tall through the spine. Inhale, lift. Exhale, twist a little bit more. If you want more, you're gonna hook that bent elbow on the outside of that right knee thigh area. Inhale, lift. Exhale, twist. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, release, and wiggle out your legs. All right, we are almost done. Let's go ahead and do one more move that's going to open up the pelvic floor, the inner thigh muscles, strengthen the core, and really work on that hip mobility that's so important for the forward fold. So it's basically a saw. It's similar to the saw pose in Pilates. So inhale nice and tall. Try not to round or hunch your back. Inhale and lift. Exhale, twist to one side, and you're going to exhale and pulse, 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 and then inhale up nice and tall. Now, try to make sure your toes are pointing up toward the ceiling, and that when you twist and pulse, your feet stay equal. One doesn't kind of scoot forward or back. So keep your heels grounded into the floor and don't let one scooch forward or back. So here we go again. Inhale, nice and tall. We're gonna go the other way. Exhale, and pulse, pulse, pulse. Inhale up. Now, if you're doing it the true Pilates way, your hand is gonna be more on the outside of your foot. If you can get there, that's great. Let's do one more time each side. Inhale nice and tall. Exhale, and pulse, pulse, pulse. Inhale nice and tall. Exhale, twist, and pulse, pulse, pulse. All right, inhale up. Exhale, feet together, knees apart. We're up in a butterfly position. Make sure you're nice and lifted through the heart and lifted through the low back. You're not like this. And in this position, feel as if, just imagine, like somebody that you really trust and love is taking their hands and pulling your knees apart and out. So you don't even have to physically do it, just feel as if someone is pulling your knees apart and out. And that just brings a little space into your hip joints so that you can press your knees a little lower toward the floor. So play with that feeling. Pressing those knees toward the floor, not even using your hands to do it. I don't want you yanking on your knees. Just use your imagination and your visualization to press those knees toward the floor after you feel like someone has pulled the knees this way. One more breath. And we go into our final deep, deep hamstring stretch. This one is one of my favorite stretches. I think it feels so good. You're gonna bring your right foot to the left inner thigh, and your leg is on the ground. So sit tall on your sitting bones. Inhale nice and tall. Exhale, exhale all your air out, and hinge at your hips. Lead with your heart. Try not to let this happen with your head, which I almost did. So head is neutral, and you are folding forward. Your leg is neutral too. You don't need to have the internal rotation or the external rotation. Just keep your leg neutral. Toes are, up toward the ceiling. If you want to, you could try this with a yoga strap just to see how it feels around the ball of your foot, holding on to it. Or you can just have your hands on the ground. If you have the space, you inhale, you exhale all your air out, and you fold all the way forward. Just relax. Feel the stretch in your low back and the whole back side of the leg. Stay here, or if you want more, you take your right hand. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale, hold on to the outside of your left foot. A little bit of a twist, and you'll feel this all along the right side body and even the right outer hip area. Try to relax your shoulder away from your ear if it was starting to be hunchy. One more breath. Now inhale, look forward. Exhale, carefully walk your hands forward, and we'll go to the other side. So right leg forward, left foot goes to the right inner thigh. Make sure you're sitting up tall on your sitting bones. Inhale. Exhale all your air out and hinge at your hips. Hinge forward. Again, this leg is neutral. It's not internally rotated or externally rotated. It's nice and neutral. Feeling the stretch all along the back of the leg. Your pelvic floor muscles are so happy in this position. You know, your hamstrings and the whole posterior chain, the whole posterior leg and thigh and hip area, it all is connected to your pelvis. So you want these nice, flexible and strong posterior chain muscles to help keep your pelvis balanced and your pelvic floor muscles happy and healthy. If you want more, you inhale, you exhale all your air out and really fold over that leg, or left arm up, inhale, exhale, hold on to the outer side of that right foot. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, hands on the ground and come up to a seated position. Okay, after all of that stretching, very well rounded, let's retest our forward fold. So inhale, exhale. Oh, a little bit of a difference. See if it feels any different from when you started. So maybe you can go farther now. Maybe at the very least, even if you're not that much farther, maybe you have more mobility and more awareness of needing to hinge forward at your hips. Maybe you know some tools like, oh, I can scoot my sitting bones back and I can, really increase the stretch that way. I can inhale, I can exhale all my air out and then fold. So look at all that you've gained. If you feel like you need to do this regularly, that's a wonderful thing. Keep doing this video. You'll get more and more flexibility the more and more you practice, and you'll get more and more awareness of your body, and you'll feel your body's nuances more and more and more the more you practice as well. All right, so we'll just end with a little sphinx and a little quad stretch just to kind of reverse all of this forward folding we've been doing. Let's do a little spinal extension. So carefully come up and come onto your belly, and be careful, be slow. We've done a lot of forward folding. So begin maybe with your knees even up is an interesting change here. So up on your elbows, feet can be down, stretch one leg out behind you and then the other. Feel as if you're pressing the pubic bone down into the ground, stretching out your belly, stretching out your hip flexors, the front of your hips. Try not to let this happen. We want to be lifted through the spine. And one of my favorite things to do to just gently stretch the quads is to bend up one leg, and you don't need to worry about grabbing it with your hand. Don't worry about grabbing your foot. Just bend up one leg and down, and bend up the other leg and down. Just a little movement, stretching out the quads, gently working the hamstrings. Now, keep doing this, or you can just lay down totally relaxed on your belly, or you can grab one leg behind you like this, and try not to let your knee go out to the side. You want to keep your knees fairly close. You can also do this with a yoga strap or a belt, stretching out the front of the leg after all that work we did to the back of the leg. Go ahead and switch sides. Again, try to keep your knees pretty close together. Don't let your side you're stretching go way out to the side. Breathe deeply. And carefully release without just shotgunning or slingshotting your foot down toward the ground. All right. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed that stretching routine. If you need any more twists to release your low back, that's wonderful. Just know that this is part of a well-rounded total body flexibility and strengthening program, which is really important for your pelvic health because your pelvic floor muscles are at the center of it all. And that all of that pelvic mobility that we did today is wonderful, not just for your hamstring flexibility, but also for your pelvic floor as well. So thank you so much for watching. If you want more ways to work with me and learn from me and just connect with me, check out the video description. And until next time, remember, eat clean, move every day, and you will shine brighter. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for watching this all the way till the end. Be sure to subscribe and like this video and share it with somebody who needs it. I'll see you next time. Bye.